Hello everybody and welcome to I Dream of Indie. If it's your first time here at the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button below for all the latest indie game reviews and previews. Today we're taking a look at another Eden on the Steam PC platform. This is a JRPG that was released all the way back in 2017 on mobile. They've worked on it for a long time. Now it makes its way over to the PC, and it features legendary scenario writer Masato Kato, who is famous for such games as a little one you might know called Chrono Trigger, and perhaps one of my favorite games ever, Xenogears. He's also worked on Final Fantasy VII, and yeah, pretty much a legend in the industry. You also have some compositions by Mr. Yasunori Mitsuda himself, but we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the sound. So just what exactly is another Eden? Yes, it has quite the pedigree around it, but thankfully it's also an excellent JRPG, and despite the fact that it is free to play, this game really does a great job of handling that. Narratively, this game also follows a lot of the same story beats of Chrono Trigger. You play as lead character Aldo, who's living quietly in a village alongside his sister Fane. They were both found in a forest, abandoned, and have been adopted by their now grandfather. Aldo is well respected in the village, and one day while performing his general duties, he discovers a strange blue portal that leads to different time dimensions. This is the Gallery of Dreams, and it plays a fairly crucial role in the overall gameplay. Unfortunately, though, it turns out that a Beast King has been seeking out Fane, not so much Aldo, for about 16 years now, and finally discovers her at this village. Long story short, Fane is captured, Aldo discovers that he has a really awesome sword, and our greater adventure begins through time and space itself. That is the opening thread of storyline to this game, but there's a lot going on here. There are many chapters. This is a big game, so it makes it an excellent value. I mean, the game's free, and you wouldn't even realize that you could pay for it all that much because the way that they've presented the free-to-play elements is really clever. Basically, you have these Chronos stones that you can use. You can actually earn them through gameplay by completing different quests, but these stones can be spent to purchase new characters that can join your party. And there are a lot of characters in this game. For 1,000 stones, you can purchase 10 at a time and hope you get some of the cool ones, or you can spend 100 and get one pull. But you can also, again, earn these stones, and it never really feels necessary because you meet plenty of party members along the way anyways. It's just if you want to support the game, which I recommend doing so. The only other real reason you have to use these stones is if you're defeated in battle, you can pick up right where you left off for spending some of them versus going back to the beginning of an area. As far as how this game actually plays, though, very much like a traditional JRPG, and that's probably what you were hoping to hear if you're a fan of that genre. But control-wise, it does rely a bit more than I was expecting to on a mouse-keyboard setup. In fact, that would be the way that you'll want to play this game. You can click around on certain areas in order to enter homes or to interact with characters, and you also move around using a very simple WASD setup. Being more of a controller user, I was initially not all that excited about this, but I ended up not really wanting to even consider going back to a controller because it does help you to get around this world so easily. The menus can be accessed very quickly. It's all really well made and very well executed. Just as you would expect in a JRPG, you have plenty of villages to explore, armor to purchase, weapon upgrades, all easily equipped, nothing too complicated here, and a very simple turn-based battle system as well. Battles are random as you explore the various maps of this game, and you basically just have to click on your character, choose the skill you want to use, and then hit the action button and go to town. It's really quick, it's really effective, and it's very simplistic. You will gain levels along the way. You can have up to 4 party members fight at a time, and you can also have a character or 2 actually in standby mode. They will gain levels if you put them there, even while you're fighting and they're not participating, and you can also swap them in. Because there are so many different characters, it's fun to experiment with combinations that you like, and there's plenty of skills to be learned in a very simplistic upgrade system as well. All you're really doing here is using skill points that you've obtained through these battles and then clicking along a grid to earn more and more abilities and skill upgrades. Of course, there are tons of side quests for you to take on from different villagers and other non-playable characters that you'll come across, and they're all really well executed. They have actual meaning behind them, and they feel fulfilling when you do complete them. Some of them were a bit long-winded, but I was still glad that I completed them because you get some really great rewards as well. One thing I simply can't not mention is that there is some crossover content in this game as well. You have a little bit of a story featuring characters from the Tales of series, as well as Persona 5, and it's really well done. It's so cool to see these characters in a different game with a different art style. I absolutely loved it. Being a JRPG traditionalist myself and being a little bit older, I was absolutely in love with this game. I like the scenario, I like the characters that you come across. Yes, some of the characters that you earn maybe don't have a lot of personality to them, but the main core party that you come across is really entertaining. This game is well written. There's a lot of different stories going on here due to the fact that you travel to different time dimensions, and the gameplay is simple but really a lot of fun. There are some other fun surprises along the way, even pertaining to the combat system, as you can earn another force attacks. These are very similar, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but to Chrono Trigger in the way that you could combine with different characters to perform pretty devastating looking abilities. There is so much content here, it really is mind-boggling that this is a free-to-play game, and again, because they do it so respectfully, you almost wouldn't even realize that you can pay. They kind of hide things in the menus so that it's not intrusive, and I felt a little bit bad because I would have been happy to just buy this game at a full retail price. Graphically, I also found Another Eden to be drop-dead gorgeous. There are some low-res textures on the grounds, and some of the backgrounds are a little bit stagnant, but for the most part, the colors are so gorgeous. All of the characters look incredible, and they're beautifully drawn in this 2D hand-drawn art style. There's lots of variety to the environments. There's lots of rain effects. I loved seeing all the new characters. It's just so obvious this was made by people that understand what classic JRPG fans are looking for, from the character portrait art to the characters themselves to the world that you are in and all the different time periods. Really beautiful art design. This is accompanied by one of my favorite new video game soundtracks. I'm a huge fan of JRPG music in general, and Yasunori Mitsuda is likely my favorite composer of all time, but there are also some other composers on this soundtrack. He does a few of the tracks, not all of them, but when he does show up, it's really obvious. You can again feel the influence of classic JRPGs. Every track is completely captivating in this game. There's so many beautiful melodies littered across the different sound pieces that you'll come across. There's a lot of variety to the music. There's different battle themes so that they don't get stale. What a wonderful soundtrack. Lots of excellent orchestration here. As someone who loves string-based music and piano and classical music, I was just completely enthralled with what is a beautiful OST. Well worth checking out even if you don't play the game. Another Eden is a game that just completely surprised me. I did not play this when it released on mobile all those years ago, but what a lovingly crafted tribute to one of the great, or really a few of the great JRPGs of all time. You can also transfer your data over. There is a little bit of a crossover there, so if you did play the game mobile, it looks like you can pull some of the data into this version of the game. There's a lot of updates initially when you boot this one up. In fact, the game lets you decide how much you want to download. I recommend downloading it all, though. This is a game that's going to keep you busy for hours and hours. I can't wait to play more of it. Enthralling characters, really interesting storyline, great game design here, a fantastic JRPG. I just have to award this one the Golden Genie Lamp. I can't not do it. What a fantastic JRPG. You have no reason really not to play it unless you don't own a computer or a laptop. It's not going to be demanding or anything like that, and it's free to play, but I recommend tossing these developers some money because this is the JRPG we've been waiting for, but that the bigger publishers simply haven't been willing to give us. So will you be checking out Another Eden? Let us know in the comments section below. We'd now like to take a moment to thank our great indie warriors, Mitchell Hall, Kevalo, Bunny, Bill Tikaz, Christian Cruz, Wesley William Semple, Strict9, Rosie Syntax, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, and CJR. Thank you for helping us fight to bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Everybody else should head down to the description box below where there are a ton of ways to support us. Consider hitting that subscribe button below, and we'll see you for the next video. Onward.